The Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel welcomes you to this edition of the Mayor's and Supervisors Weekly Update, brought to you by...
Each week, our community makes history. Each week, you make history. And each week, there's only one source to turn to for the first take on history. You know what that is? Subscribe to the Sentinel right now to discover the history being made in your own backyard.
The Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel. More than just your news, it's your history.
Hey, welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Mayors and Supervisors Update. I'm fumbling my words right out of the gate here. I'm Chris Carosa, publisher of the Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel, and each week we bring you the goings-on in the towns and villages around our community. This week we're going to be starting with Jerry from Rush. Jerry, how are we doing in Rush?
Well, Rush is doing very well, but Jerry hasn't been doing well because, like the Milne family, Jerry has suffered with his second bout with COVID. And the second one was worse than the first one. And today I'm feeling better than I felt in the last 3 weeks. And I'm hoping it will continue. And my focus today will be on encouraging people to get protected, get the vaccines and the boosters. I had the vaccines and I had the boosters and I still got it. What we don't know is what variant did I get. I can tell you it was worse than the first one I got, so who knows? But I hope I don't get another one, and I hope that most people get vaccinated and boosted so that they don't get another one either. With that being said, I would like to say that the town of Rush and the American Legion will host a event at our memorial in the hamlet, which is right across from the Creekside Inn. And we will have some of our VFW people there and a short ceremony, no parade. The veterans tell me they're getting too old to march, and I back them up with that statement. I'm too old to march also, but we will have a nice little ceremony honoring them, and I'll stop there.
All right. Thank you very much, Jerry. And next we're going to hear from Maggie Ridge. Actually, we're going to hear me speak on behalf of Maggie Ridge. She sent me this update from the village of Scottsville. Arbor Day was celebrated on Saturday, April 30th, with help from over 25 Girl and Boy Scouts, the Forestry Board, our own DPW, and Cooper Vision. We planted 4 trees on Beckwith Avenue. Prizes were given away, as well as a variety of tree samplings. Coming up on Saturday, May 7th, so if you're watching this, you probably missed it, but it would have happened yesterday, I Love My Park Day. I Love My Park Day is held on the first Saturday in May. It attracts thousands of volunteers from across the state to participate in cleanup, improvement, and beautification events at New York State Parks, historic sites, and public lands. You can join people to celebrate the New York State Park system and prepare our public lands for spring by cleaning up parks, lands, beaches, planting trees, gardens, restoring trail and wildlife habitats, removing invasive species, and working on various site improvement projects. Volunteer registration was open, and if you worked out, you probably participated in a site near you, and the interactive find an event map, you use that to find where to go, and you chose your region, and you went there. So once again, that would have been Saturday, May 7th. And if you're watching this, that would have been yesterday. So from yesterday back to today, it's John Moffitt and the town of Mendon. How's the town of Mendon doing?
Hi, Chris. I just want to reiterate something I talked about a couple of weeks ago about the iHealth COVID-19 test kits. The first bunch that we handed out at the town, and I'm pretty sure that these dates correspond with most of the ones that have been handed out at many municipalities. expire May 11th, which is we're coming up on. I contacted Dr. Mendoza from the Monroe County Health Department, and Dr. Mendoza said that these are good for 3 months past that date. So if you have some of those at home and May 11th rolls around, don't feel that you need to throw them out. They're still good for another 3 months. The second batch we have, I should say, because we still have probably close to 1,000 at Town Hall. So please feel free to stop in and pick them up. They expire July 24th, or at least that's the date on those. He said same thing applies there. Those are good for 3 months past the expiration date. So I also wanted to mention on Memorial Day coming up on May 30th, which is a Monday. There are a number of parades locally. North Bloomfield is at 8:30. If you've never been to the North Bloomfield parade and ceremony at the cemetery, I would suggest going. It's a really nice ceremony at the North Bloomfield. And that is at 8:30 a.m. The one in the hamlet of Mendon is at 9:30, and that concludes at the Mendon Cemetery. St. Paul the Cross, there's a short ceremony there at 10:30. And Rick, not trying to step on your toes, but there's another one in Honeoye Falls at 11:30. So, during COVID, a lot of these things didn't happen. So I really want to encourage folks to get out and come to these parades and certainly enjoy some of the things that we have upcoming. Another big upcoming event is the Mendon Fireman's Parade, and that is on Saturday, June 4th, 6 o'clock. And of course, the carnival runs that Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Once again, get out and enjoy these things, because we all saw over the last couple of years when we didn't have these kinds of opportunities. We'll be opening up Splash Park bids on Thursday, May 12th. We had to rebid that, as I've spoken about that in the past, because one portion of it did not receive any bids. And I remind everybody to get out and vote on School Budget Day, which is May 17th. I always like to remind people that we have part of the Pittsburgh School District within the town of Mendon, and actually, coincidentally, the Pittsburgh Central School District owns a piece of property in the town of Mendon. So please get out and vote. There are candidates for school board both in Honeoye Falls-Lima and Pittsburgh. Please educate yourself on those candidates and get out and vote. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, John. Next, we have Mike Falk, who is also away doing something today. He's not playing tic-tac-toe on the playground like he was last week. He's actually collecting electronics, something that he promoted last week. But this week, he's got another public service comment, which he's asked me to read, and that is, warmer weather is here, and with it comes both the good and the bad. So remember to protect yourself and your pets from rabies. Rabies is a viral disease present in saliva and nervous tissue of an infected animal that attacks the central nervous system of humans, including the brain and the spinal cord. People can contact rabies if they are bitten by a rabid animal, or if saliva from a rabid animal enters an open cut or gets into your eyes, nose, or mouth. Rabies is almost always fatal once symptoms appear. Livingston County had past confirmed rabies in raccoons, bats, cats, foxes, skunks, woodchucks, and even cows. With warm weather approaching, the potential for contact with wildlife increases. The Livingston County Department of Health urges residents to be aware of the danger of rabies and follow these guidelines to protect themselves. If you are bitten by an animal, immediately wash the wound with soap and water, seek medical attention, and report the incident to the Livingston County Department of Health. Avoid contact with any animal or stray, wild or stray. Be suspicious of wild animals that are unusually tame or aggressive, especially those that attack your pets. Do not attract raccoons, stray dogs, stray cats, or other animals to your yard by feeding them. Teach children not to touch any animal they do not know and to tell an adult immediately if they are bitten by an animal. By law, all dogs, cats, and ferrets must be vaccinated against rabies. Make sure horses and valuable livestock are also up to date on rabies vaccinations. Keep your family pets indoors at night. Don't let them outside unattended or let them roam free. Wear thick gloves when handling pets after any involvement with suspected rabid wild animals. Bathe pets after wildlife encounters using rubber gloves. If a bat is found in your home or cabin, do not let it go. Isolate it in a single room and contact the Livingston County Health Department to discuss the potential for exposure. In some cases, the bat can be tested for rabies. Immediately report any possible contact with bats, especially contact with the sleeping persons, unattended children, or individuals with impairments. For more information about rabies or upcoming rabies clinics, please contact the Livingston County Department of Health at 585-243-7280 or visit our website at www.livingstoncounty.us/doh.htm. Maybe that's a /. I don't know. I get confused on those things. Rick, make me less confused. How's Honeoye Falls doing?
We're doing okay, Chris. Thanks. And I'll just apologize now if I have to keep drinking a little water. As Jerry said, it's been a rough couple of weeks. For the first time in 18 years, I had to miss the Conference of Mayors annual meeting. And it was up at the Sagamore in Bolton's Landing. So that was not an event to miss. And my wife and I were both going to go and unfortunately had to cancel because of COVID. And so it's been a rough couple of weeks, but we're on the mend. And as Jerry said, you don't wish it on anybody. Sometimes it's like a bad cold. Sometimes it's a really bad cold, and it's been a bad one. But as we move on, a couple things I wanted to bring up as we get into the nicer weather. Of course, we all know that the bees start to come out. As people are using our playgrounds, if you see anything as far as nests, we ask that people report that to the village. You can call our village office and leave a message, 624-1711. But it's also important to understand, we can't just spray for bees. If there's wasps and hornets, that's one thing. But we ran into a situation this past week. It was a beautiful, warm, bright day, and a bunch of honeybees gathered on a bench. We cannot spray honeybees. They are protected. And so we actually had to bring in a beekeeper who collected the queen bee who was there. And then once the queen bee is gone, the other bees will soon leave. But a lot of times people say, well, how come you're not spraying for them? Well, we can't. We're not allowed to. So we have to be conscious of that, not only in the trees that surround the parks, but even in some of the playground equipment. We check these things literally every day. But sometimes in a crack or crevice, these things can be hidden quite well until they're not. So just be cautious of that. And again, please let the village know if you're in the village and see nests that are of concern. Excuse me. As John mentioned, the HFL school budget vote is coming up on May 17th. That's from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. in the Board of Education room. And again, I just want to reiterate what John said. We hope people, our local residents, will get out and cast their ballots. Look for that information. There's a lot of information out there on the budget and on the candidate information. And we hope people will make well-informed decisions. But, this is an important thing for all of our communities, whether you support it or not. Again, it's just like any vote, right? If you don't cast your vote, don't complain. So, I just support, hope people will get out and support the vote one way or the other. Also, another thing that, again, is tied in with the town of Mendon because it's the Mendon Public Library, but there's a lot of library reading programs that go on throughout the course of the summer. So a lot of our young families who have young kids young children, or maybe grandparents who are watching some of their grandchildren. They have some great reading programs there, and I'm just throwing that out there because I know my partner John Moffett will be reading at one of those events, and I will be as well. And it's just such a rewarding event to be able to sit down with the kids and read. So, go to the library's website. Our town of Mendon library is just an active, wonderful facility, and we want to support their programs as well. So, get out and check that out. Honeoye Falls Mendon Ambulance Department. We are advertising again for an EMS ALS supervisor. Like all emergency services departments, these are very difficult positions to fill, and finding the right professional is a challenge, but it's a critical effort for our department. And we also continue to look for more additional ALS or BLS. So that's basic life support, advanced life support volunteers, and or per diem professionals as well. It's such a critical department in our community, and it's tough. We're all going through tough times right now, finding people to fill these positions. So, if you know of anyone who's interested, please pass the word around, and we're advertising for that now. The Tuesday night concert series, Good Vibes Flowing, is all booked. The musical concerts will begin on Tuesday, June 21st. We'll be advertising in the Sentinel and elsewhere very shortly. We're just putting that advertising together, but that will begin on Tuesday, June 21st, and it will end on or around August 23rd. All Tuesday nights, generally from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. We had a real rough go last year with the rain. We are going to work with the fire department on some of the nights that may threaten rain or are raining. We may still have the concert, but down at the firemen's training grounds under the pavilion. We really don't want to get in a situation where we have to keep rebooking these shows all the time. So we're going to try to see if that will help. Excuse me. We're currently working on a food truck or two for those events as well. And then also, I just wanted to mention that we're going to have a couple bands playing on Saturday, August 20th as well. That's at the festival at the Falls, and that's the festival that the Howard Hanna Group has started. And it's kind of what I keep saying. I'm hoping it's going to bring back the old festival on the green at some point in time, but it's going to be an event very similar to that. So there'll be arts and crafts and food and a little bit of music as well. So that's going to be on Saturday, August 20th. And then lastly, as people are walking around the village, just keep your eyes open. As the kids are getting closer to being out of school, there's a lot more kids moving around, a lot of cars going back and forth, and a lot of kids still crossing our streets. So, excuse me, I'm sorry. Let's just, really pay attention to that. And then also our DPW has started the initial phase of our summer sidewalk program. We're currently working on Locust and Monroe Street near St. Paul of the Cross Church, taking some of those sidewalks out and putting in new sidewalks. A lot of this has to do with a SAMS grant that we were awarded from Senator Brook this past year, a $200,000 grant, which is specifically for our sidewalks. Unfortunately, as we all know, the costs have gone up dramatically. So we had a whole series of sidewalks laid out to redo, and we may have to scale that back a little bit just because the costs are so high. But we're going to do whatever we can. If we can come up with some more money, we'll do what we can. But I bring that up because although it should be obvious, there will be barricades up in front of these sidewalks. There'll be signage. But, when you're out walking, a lot of times people are just, they're walking, they're on their phone at the same time, which is not a great thing to do. But people don't pay attention, and we don't want people tripping and falling with these hazards of the sidewalk. So just be aware, there's going to be a lot of construction around the village this summer with sidewalks. We'll be repaving some roads. So just again, be cognizant of that and be aware. And then lastly, I know Supervisor Moffett and I see all the time, and so does Jerry. we need people to slow down on our roadways. John's got signs up around the town of Mendon. We're going to get some up as well. We're working with the Monroe County Sheriffs as well as the state police. We don't want to hand out tickets, but I'll tell you, we are not going to hold back on it. If you're speeding in the village, don't try to get out of your ticket, because we're going to try to make sure it goes through. We need people to slow down. We need people to watch pedestrians walking at the crosswalks. We need people to be safe. Doesn't matter what community you're in. It's a problem every place. And people just don't pay attention. So throughout the county, throughout our towns and villages, you need to slow down. So that's it for me this week. I appreciate the time. Great to see everybody.
All right, thanks, Rick. Anybody else got something more to add?
Chris, I would just like to add that I wanted to show our appreciation to Falls Post 664 for their efforts in the various Memorial Day parades and celebrations throughout the town and the village. We really appreciate their cooperation and all that they do for our community.
All right, great, thanks. Well, thank you all for listening. And remember, we are broadcasting every Sunday at 1 o'clock. So like our Facebook page or subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you'll get a message as soon as it starts broadcasting. Want to thank our guests today. Hope you guys are feeling better. Hope everybody's feeling better who is kind of under the weather. And with that, I'll say bye-bye for now.
Imagine yourself communicating with a difference. Pan-Dimensional Solutions helps you do this. Whether live spectator events, taped broadcasts, or real-time audience-engaging programs, you can benefit immediately from the tools Pan-Dimensional Solutions will share with you. Do you want to make a difference? Contact us at pandimensional.com.